everybody. Today, we're going to be talking about Kumite, but not Kumite in the way that you might think as far as Kumite in the dojo. We're going to talk about Kumite outside the dojo. In other words, we're going to be talking about some interesting principles and guidelines where how you can use the strategies and the principles of Kumite outside of the dojo. And when we say outside the dojo, I'm not talking about like having a fight outside the dojo, but using the principles of Kumite in your everyday life. And so this lecture was put together by Hanshi James Herndon, as you see there. I've made some changes to it, but the information was not his. This was information that really came from Soki Kuniba, and these were really his principles that we're going to be talking about. And also, as we go through this, you're going to see kanji like this. All the kanji was done by Soki Kuniba. And this was my instructor, Soki Shogo Kuniba. His penmanship in itself was like artwork. He was extremely good at it. Had unbelievable penmanship or brush strokes, and it's actually an art called sumie, and you can actually, a person can actually train in sumie or brush writing, and can actually earn a black belt in that. So there were different levels depending on how good you were at it. So, and that's an art form that they really are trying to keep alive and going in Japan. And you see a lot of artwork these days that are, have the kanji. So, so let's talk about Kumite. And Kumite in general is something that we train in just, as our karate, but we train in Kumite to learn how to fight. But we learn how to fight so we won't have to fight. And that is really karate in general. We're trying to become very, very skilled at self-defense, very skilled in our tactics and our techniques, but with the hope, and we pray that we never have to use them. Because I know I don't want to hurt an individual. I don't want to hurt somebody. But the cool thing is that we have these skills, and they're really cool skills. So we could learn, we're learning to fight so that we have that confidence to know we could handle ourselves if we had to. Now, most of you will never get in a fight in your entire life, I hope. Okay, but the chances are you probably won't. But if you do, you are ready. Okay, a friend of mine who is a karate instructor, he often said, where he talked about an actual thing that happened to him, and he was accosted by a guy tried to pick a fight with him, and he looked at him and smiled and said, "Wow, that's cool. I do that for a living." Okay, and the guy like backed off really fast. So that was really using a strategy there. Okay, so we learn how to fight so that we won't have to fight. But let's face it, when we talk about life, life is a fight. Okay, there are obstacles that are always in our way. There are always going to be circumstances that are difficult. There are going to be all kinds of things that we have to struggle with, and we have to try our best to get past and all. Right now, this whole situation with COVID-19, it's a very difficult situation, and literally people are fighting for their lives, So if we're trying to learn how to fight, but not fight, how does that coincide? Well, we're talking about the principles of Kumite. And if you apply these to your life, you're going to be successful. You're going to be victorious in just about anything that you do. So that's the idea. Okay, you're trying to make sure that you understand the principles of Kumite, of strategy, and all these things we're going to talk about tonight. And if you do so and you apply them, you're going to be victorious. Let's face it. I have some students who have been so successful in their careers and in their lives due to the fact that they have applied their karate, applied what they learned to their daily lives. And they've got that idea that no matter what, they're not going to give up. 7 times down, 8 times up. All right, so our first thing that we're going to talk about is Kamae. And, you know, we always, a lot of times in Kumite class especially, we say Hidari Kamae, left foot forward, fighting stance, okay? So we talk about Kamae as that's what the word Kamae means, just posture. And posture is not just the way you stand, but it's how you stand. It is the attitude in which you are standing. Let's say somebody gets in a fighting posture and they're facing an opponent, but they look like they're about to cry on their face, okay? Obviously, their posture is, they might have the best physical posture, but their mental posture, the posture that they're putting out through their face, shows that mentally and emotionally, they are not in a strong position. So posture is about your attitude, and your attitude can be your posture. If you get into a stance, or let's say you just stand nice and tall and straight, and somebody says, I want to beat you up, I want to fight, I want your wallet, okay? And you just stand there and you glare at them like, try it, okay? Go ahead, make my day, okay? Then a lot of times that is going to be the posture, the attitude. They can feel that through the way you're standing, and they're going to go, whoa, I don't want to mess with this guy, okay? So Kamae, or posture, can be the way that we get in and out of life struggles. You know, sometimes the posture needs to be a posture where we're very caring, we're very, we have a lot of empathy, a lot of sympathy for what's going on in the world and what's going on with other people. And sometimes that's the way to help other people with their struggles as well, is to show them that we care. So posture is attitude, attitude is posture. We may have to make those one and the same. All right, the next thing is called Tai Sabaki. In Tai Sabaki, I think those of you that have been in Kumite a good while, you know, we refer to that as body shifting, okay? As the ability to duck in and duck out, or, you know, drop down, move your body side to side, okay? It's basically being in the right position so that you put yourself in the best position possible for success, okay? So if somebody's punching at my head, obviously I don't want to keep my head in that position, but I don't want to just move my head back, because then am I going to be in a good position to do a defense from that, or to do a counterattack? Probably not. But if I position myself to the side, I cut an angle, then I'm putting myself at the right distance, in the right position, to where maybe I can perform a counterattack, and I'm going to be very successful. And the same thing applies in life. We've got to know when to move right, when to move left, when to make the right moves in our lives, okay? And the right move usually isn't just standing still, not just staying where you are. You've got to be flexible. You've got to be have the ability to move and to shift and make sure that you put yourself in the most successful position in each thing that happens in your lives. So flexibility requires that agility to move when it's necessary. There are going to be times when standing in place, it may be the right thing to do, but we've got to be flexible. We've got to make sure that we're not always going to stand just in place and take on life. We've got to be able to move around. We've got to be able to adjust when we need to. This is really important nowadays in this, in the whole, again, COVID thing that's going on. when the governor of Virginia said, okay, all non-essential businesses are going to have to shut down, we looked and said, well, we think we're essential, but obviously the governor does not, okay? I mean, we just feel like our business is very important. And I talked to several other instructors in those first couple of days, friends of mine, Brian Hobson and some other people, Louis Estes. Some of them are going to go, some of them said, well, you know, just going to kind of wait it out, just kind of see what happens, you know, just kind of do my thing. Others were like, wow, we need to do something and do it fast. And it was the flexibility to say, we need to go online and we need to do it now. And we closed on Tuesday and we were online on Thursday. So we made that shift, that move very quickly, and we were flexible about it. And yeah, it's been hard. We've learned a lot on the way, and we're still learning, okay? Because now we're going to have to be flexible to get back to life as normal as it's going to be. We're looking at how are we going to reopen the dojo? How are we going to keep everyone safe, everyone healthy, and still be able to teach karate classes? Are we going to be able to have everybody just come in as they want to, or are we going to have to schedule people on what days and times that they can come in so that we don't have too many people in at once? We're going to have to clean a whole lot, and we're going to have to still figure out a way to be able to do online virtual classes as well as regular physical classes. Because if everybody can't come in all the days they want to, they can still train at home. So we're being flexible. We're giving people those options and all. And I will tell you, we made the right moves, I believe, at the right time. And that's what life is about. Now, the next thing is Mai. Okay, Mai is distancing. And yes, distance matters, okay? It really, really matters. In Kumite, if you're in a Kumite bout and you charge in too fast, too hard, and you get too close, you could be hit before you get a chance to hit. Or you could get in so close that you can't do the techniques that you want to do. So we've got to be careful and make the right amount of distance so that we can make the best technique and make the strongest technique that we can be. If we're too close or we're too far, it can make the difference between being victorious or being defeated. And the same thing kind of in life. You know, sometimes with problems and with situations that come up, we try to get too close. We try to get too involved, too just been out of shape over something. And sometimes we need to step back. We need to distance ourselves from it a little bit and be able to take in everything around us and make a better decision. So the distancing in life is very important. Sometimes, yeah, sometimes you have to dive in. Sometimes you have to get in, get your hands dirty and get in the middle of that situation and fix it. And sometimes you need to back off a little bit, let things evolve as they're going to, and see how you can adjust. Okay, in those situations, flexibility again matters. Okay, because you may back up and say, "Oh, I need to do this because now I can see everything that's going on." So, and that's something that we choose. So you get to choose how close you are in a situation. Sometimes we always need to step back and take a breath and think about things. A lot of people, I know we got some people in our family that, boy, everything's a problem. Everything is a major thing that's happening. And I just like say to them when I'm talking to them, hey, stop, take a breath, step back, think about this, okay? And, you know, sometimes it calms them down and they can, you know, you're right, blah, blah, blah. So distance, make sure you have the right distance, okay? Now, Next is Suki. Suki is one of the things that Suki is about is strategy, but it's timing. It's timing. It's the timing to make sure that you take the opportunity and seize the opportunity so that you know when it's the right time to make your move. In Kumite, one of the things I loved to do when I was competing is would stand there in my stance, and I'd have the muscles of my arm and my chest and my torso tense to just the right amount so that my front hand was like a trip hammer, okay? And that person would step right into the right amount of distance, and I'd just fire that front hand right in. And so they would actually make the opportunity available to me by coming in toward me to attack me. And before their attack would happen, before they would get to the point where they could actually punch or kick me, I was hitting them right at the right moment. So seizing that opportunity and knowing when to strike is extremely important. And you have to be able to read your opponent, and you have to be able to look for the gaps in their defense. You have to look for the gaps in their strengths as well. Where are their strengths? Where are their weaknesses? We've got to be able to know when to strike. It's very, very important. Now, in life, we have to seize opportunities, okay? When you see an opportunity ahead of you and you go, wow, okay, that could be a great opportunity, but you don't do anything about it, then you lose, okay? I'll tell you about an opportunity I had years ago. I was trying to work, and I still do, try to, mess around with the stock market a little bit, that kind of stuff, which isn't the greatest thing right now. But I will tell you that years ago, I bought some stock in a company that I thought, I think this is just going to grow. It's going to grow. It's the opportunity for what's going to happen in the future with this company may really, really be a great opportunity. And I'm sure you know the company. I'll tell you the name. But I bought this stock for $20, $20. Okay. So I bought some stock, bought some shares. The company is called Netflix. And if you have an idea of what Netflix is selling for today, it's about, the stock is worth about $400 and some dollars. All right. So did I make the right move at the right time? Absolutely. Okay. Have I made some wrong moves? Sure. We all make mistakes. But we can't just sit idly and say, that's all I'm going to do. Okay. I'm not going to do anything. So when we have opportunities, seize the opportunity, know what you're getting into and know when to strike. All right. Next is Sundome. Sundome is about what we have to do inside and outside of ourselves, okay? It's about knowing how much force we can use in a situation, all right? In self-defense, there's something called the levels of force, okay, or the force continuum. And this is something that especially police officers and military people, they have to deal with a lot in combat kind of situations and in police situations. They have to know, is this the right thing to try to tackle this guy, put him on the ground, put him in cuffs? Is this the right thing where I need to pull out my pepper spray or a taser? Or is this the situation where I need to pull out something more deadly like my firearm? So they have to know the right amount of force to use in a situation. As martial artists, we really are in the same situation, all right? And we have a great thing that as you learn martial arts, you learn more and more and more about control. and not just control of your life, but control of your situation, control of your surroundings, and how much control
Who was
you,
that?
for instance, in martial arts, fortunately, we learn all these techniques and we get really good at them, and we can learn to put a certain amount of force into our techniques. And we know if we hit the person with this amount of force, we're probably going to drop them. But if I hit them really super hard, I'm going to hurt them. I mean, I'm going to injure them. Okay. And it all depends on the situation that you're in. And understanding the situation you're in tells you how strong, how forceful you have to be in a situation. In like a meeting, sometimes, meetings or even discussions with families can get a little heated because, not everybody always agrees. That's just life. But if we make sure that we know how much control we need to have in a situation, how much force we need to put into a situation. If we feel we're right, then we want to put more force. If we feel this is absolutely the best decision, then we want to put more force into it. But if it's a situation where we need to step back, we need to listen to everybody's opinion. We need to say, maybe I need to back off because this person has a better idea. Then we're using less force or less control in that situation. We can't be in full control of everything that happens. Let's face it, what's happened around us in the last couple of months? Did anybody think 3 months ago, 4 months ago, 5 months ago, last year, that we would be in this kind of situation now? No, none of us did. And it's the way that you respond in these situations, because you're not going to have control of everything that happens around you. But what's important is the way that we respond to things that happen around us. Okay? It's kind of a saying that, the one thing you can always count on is change. Okay? Yes, because things are always going to change. And if we accept the idea that things are going to change, then we'll understand that there are going to be some things that I can change with that. There are going to be some things I can't control whatsoever. All right? I can't control right now the fact that there's a pandemic. I can't control the fact that the governor said I have to close my business, my school, my dojo. But I can control the fact that we can get off our backside and get these classes going in a virtual aspect. I'll tell you, today we had something really kind of exciting. We did one last Saturday. It was a virtual mass intro. So, we have intro classes, that kind of thing. And usually we'll have a couple of people. Well, last Saturday, we had 78 people registered, 30 some showed up for the class. Today, we had one with 68 people registered. We had 25 or so show up. Oh my gosh. Now, I don't know how many of those will continue. I know we've got a couple already from Saturday, so we've got a couple of new students. Wow. A couple of new students in this situation? Wow, that's taking control of your situation and doing what you can to change it. So we've got to know when to do that. Okay, let's go on to the next one. So the next one is interesting. This is uke. Now, uke is two things. Uke can be block, or uke can be the person who is attacking you. All right? So the uke is really what the word means. It doesn't mean block. It doesn't mean partner. It doesn't mean attacker. It means receive. It means that you are going to receive something coming to you. All right? So this person's going to come at me and I'm going to receive it. Now, how do I receive it? Do I block it? Do I move out of the way? Do I use my tai sabaki? Do I catch them on the way in with the right timing, the right tsuki? Okay. How do I know that? So what that means is that we have to know our opponent. We have to know what's going to happen. All right. Now, how do you do that? Training, 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 training. You get to the point where you can anticipate the attack and the defense. And what I mean by anticipating the attack, in other words, you can get to the point where you kind of can read your opponent. You can kind of tell what they're getting ready to do. And especially with people who are not, real advanced, a lot of times they will tell you what they're going to do by their actions. They'll telegraph to you their moves. And you have to be able to recognize those signals that tell you what that person's going to do so that you can receive it the right way. Now, you also have to anticipate your defense in what you're going to do. And this goes to really a lot of what we talk about in self-defense. In self-defense, when we teach self-defense classes and all, especially for like lady self-defense, we always talk about, of course, awareness, being aware of your surroundings and knowing what's around you, knowing who's around you, and not putting yourself in bad situations. But we also say, look at what's going on around you and visualize in your mind what you would do if this person suddenly jumped out at you, if this person suddenly turned and said, hey, I want your money, or, give me your purse, or whatever it is, okay? What would we do? We see myself, when I go into like a restaurant, which I haven't in a long time, but anyway, when I go into a restaurant and we sit down, I always sit so that I'm facing the front door and I can see the people coming in, going out, and that kind of stuff. So that if I see somebody walk in and they've got a trench coat on and it's July, I can go, wow, something is going to happen here. Something is not quite right. Nobody should be wearing a trench coat in July, okay? Not in this area anyway. And I'm already starting to think in my head, what would I do if I know where the exits are? I know where the front door is. I know where that person is. I'm going to keep my eye on them just to anticipate. Now, this isn't being paranoid. This is just being cautious, and it's being aware. And awareness is part of that, being able to receive because you know your opponent ahead of time. You have seen them, you have been aware of them, and now you can receive it. Now think of a block, okay? If we talked about this as block, so why is the word uke block? It is because when a punch comes or a kick comes, you block it, you are receiving it. You are taking it, receiving it, and putting it where you want it. So that's what that is. Uke is the person, you're receiving that person. So you're receiving whatever attack they have. Some people actually switch the terms because there's uke and there's tori. And uke is the receiver, tori is the giver, okay? So in a lot of styles, uke is the person who is attacking. So they're, chuda on, coming in with a punch so I can do practice my self-defense. And the tori is the person that is doing the self-defense. But in a lot of schools, they switch, not a lot, but some of the schools, they switch that because they, tori, T-O-R-I, okay? And they switch that because they say that the person receiving is the person getting punched at. So anyway, we don't switch it that way, but it's yeah, I'm going to spell that out for you here. Somebody's asking me to spell it. So it's tori, like that. Okay? So, but anyway, that's the idea of uke can be block as receive or person that receives. Okay? So, all right. Let's go on to the next one. Then the next one is about a shiai. A shiai in martial arts is known as a contest, or it's a tournament. A lot of times we say tournament, shiai, okay? And let's face it, life is a contest. It is constantly challenging us It is constantly making us compete against people, against other things that go on in our life. Our schedules are really hectic, and you know we've got to compete with other things that are going on. So the shiai is when someone is giving you a hard time, you know, and maybe they're just, you know, having a conversation with you. Okay, it's a contest back and forth. Who's going to be right? Who's going to be right? You know, it's also very much something that we have to always be ready for. Okay, but one of the things we have to do to be ready for it is we've got to know what the rules are to the contest. And when I was a very fresh black belt, I mean, I just got my black belt. I don't know how long it was, but it wasn't long after I got my first degree black belt, and I went to a tournament. And as a matter of fact, Soki Kunimo was putting on the tournament, and I was very freshly under, you know, him. And I remember that James Herndon, the person that did these slides, James Herndon was a referee. So boy, that's interesting how life comes around. So anyway, I got in the match. Now this was using the rules of this governing body that I had never been around before. Okay, I had never competed under these kind of rules under this organization. I competed under more open style rules and that kind of stuff. And they were using, like we do today, and many of the same things, they were using all these hand signals and these Japanese words, Japanese commands for the contest, okay? And I didn't know any of them. I mean, we didn't compete like that. We didn't compete in that, you know, that world, so to speak. Well, guess what? I didn't know the rules, okay? I thought I knew the rules, but I got there and it was a totally different set of rules. So, you know, we're going and, you know, they're stopping us and he's saying, no, stop, stop, stop. You know, and he called Yame, and I keep going. He goes, oh, stop, 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 you know, that kind of thing. And he's making these hand gestures and all this stuff. And finally at the end, he goes, okay, and Ray, bow. And I looked at him and I went, did I win? Okay, because seriously, I didn't know, because I didn't know the rules. And it's extremely difficult to play the game. It's extremely difficult to get by in life if you don't know the rules. Okay, imagine if you were in a baseball game. Okay, you had no idea what the rules were. Okay, you'd never seen a baseball game in your life, and you get up and they say, okay, you're up to bat. Okay, what do? Oh, well, you take this big stick, and when the guy throws the ball at you, you hit it. Oh, okay, all right, great. So you get up there and you stand on the plate, and they go, no, sir, you have to move off that white thing down there, stand over here in this box. Oh, okay, all right. But stand sideways, don't face the guy. Okay, all right, got it, okay. So then here comes the ball. Boom, I hit it. Okay. And I go, wow, that was fun. No, sir, run. You got to run. You got to run. And I go, okay. So I start running toward third base. I don't know the rules. Okay. I don't know how the game plays. Life is like that. You've got to know what the rules are, and we've got to follow the rules. Okay. We've got to work within the rules. And then most of all, whatever it is, compete to win. Okay. And it's not that, you know, winning is the most important thing, but work to be successful. Work to be the best you can be at whatever you do, because that's what the contest is. Life is the contest, and life is going to tell us the rules as we go along, but we've got to do our best to find the rules and make the rules. Believe me, I've learned a lot of rules about Zoom conferencing and how to do live streaming and stuff like that. And we are competing, we are working very, very hard to be successful at that and to make sure that that works well for all of you. And I think we've done a fairly decent job, and we're going to continue to do that and continue to get better at it. So the Shiai is the contest. And there was a very a philosopher, okay, named Sun Tzu. And Sun Tzu said, every battle is won before it is ever fought. And that is very, very true. If you go in and you know the rules, you have the strategy, you have the ability, you understand the distancing, you understand how to move, tai sabaki, and you know your opponent and you know yourself. And this is another thing that he said. If you know your opponent and know yourself, you will be victorious in a battle. Okay? So you've got to know everything about yourself. You've got to train yourself. You've got to know what your strengths and weaknesses are. And you've got to apply those each and every day. All right? Okay. So that's our lecture for today about Kumite and using it in life. So I hope you've enjoyed that. And at this point, we'll end that and see if you'd like to open it up to any questions. Hi, everybody. You're still here.
Hi, Hanshi.
Hi there.
Hanshi, I don't have a question. It's more just like a comment. But
Okay.
I am so incredibly fascinated and amazed at how, things that we learn and we do in karate and martial arts are translated into life. I just think it's fantastic. And I think it's an incredible benefit to martial arts that maybe a lot of people don't realize initially until you start studying and practicing it. And then it comes to light. But I'm always amazed by that.
No, I appreciate that. And, these are things I've been wanting to do for a long time, is do more of these lecture classes, that kind of stuff. And it's interesting that it took this situation to finally get us to do it, and to put this together and all. And that's why we do it, is because it's such an important part of everything that we do. We have a kind of a saying between martial arts instructors and all that, people talk about, this, that, and the other thing as far as karate or whatever. You don't know, you don't understand what it's about until you put on a gi, put on a belt, and step on the dojo floor. You just don't understand it, okay? And that is so true. And the way it represents life, you don't get it until you've done it. So that's a good point.
Yes, and as a parent watching my kids and Power Kids, you watch them and you think like, come on, this shouldn't be hard. You do this, you do that, But I know for myself, from the minute I put that gi on and I got out on the dojo mat, I said, oh my gosh, this is like a whole nother level. You think you might know as a parent because you watch, but you don't know. You don't know.
You don't know until you do. That's exactly right. You just don't know. You're on the sidelines going, come on, go, you can do it, you can do it, you can do it. You don't realize until you get out there, you're going, oh my God. So yes, that is absolutely true, no doubt.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Shihan?
Yes.
Can you go back to the slide with Kamae? I didn't get to finish some of the words right here.
Which one was it?
Kamae. Kamae.
Oh, Kamae.
Kamae. Whoops.
Yes, I can do that. I'll do that as we finish here, okay? And I'll show it to you as we finish.
Okay, that's fine with me.
All
Plus,
right?
Shihan, like you said, they're doing this in Japanese for these.
Right. The
I actually write these whenever I see them sometimes. I used to write them when my oppa visit, and he used to take me to a Chinese restaurant which had them, and I used to draw them in a notebook, and I still have those signs. I draw them a lot, and I just drawed every single one that was on the slides that you posted.
I took Japanese in college, and then I also did some other private courses in Japanese, and I will tell you, it is really a fascinating language, as well as the fascinating writing system. Learning to speak Japanese is not that terribly hard. Learning to write it in kanji is totally oblivious to us, okay? Because they don't have an alphabet like we do. They have a system of sounds, okay? And I mean, our letters are systems of sounds, but it's just totally different. And those kanji characters, they say, in order to read a newspaper, in daily newspaper, you need to know about 2,500 different kanji characters. 2,500. How many letters are in the alphabet?
26.
Yeah, you only had to learn 26. They got to learn 25. I mean, at least 2,500 just to read a newspaper. Okay, and that boggles my mind. How do they do that? Well, maybe they're smarter than us. I don't know, but it is definitely mind-boggling. And every character that is written in a certain pattern of strokes. In other words, there is a pattern to it that you have to write it the right way. You can't just say, okay, let me draw it, whatever, try to draw it. If there is a number, a sequence in the number of strokes in the way that they're done. So it's hard. It really is. But once you start to learn it, you understand that it's pretty much, for the most part, you start at the upper left corner of it, and you work your way kind of at an angle downward to the bottom right corner, for the most part, okay? You also can do it with a pen or pencil, whatever, but doing it with a brush, now that's a whole different thing in itself, because you have to learn how to keep the brush straight up and down. You don't hold it like a pen, and you have to keep it straight up and down, and you have to learn how to lift it. So you get these nice characters that are very bold at the beginning, and then they kind of fade off. And you do that.
Oh, I was actually at my camp last year. I actually used it, and I draw the symbol of the Yellow Ranger Samurai from Power Rangers. It actually shows kanji symbols in Power Ranger Samurai, and I draw the yellow samurai, like
Yeah.
and then ha, and then like that.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because, I mean, they're beautiful things to see. And you can buy artwork that's just kanji, and I have a lot of it. And some people, they think it's so cool that they get tattoos with kanji. And it's been interesting because I've seen some tattoos and I go, gee, what does that say? And they say, oh, this says, power. And I'm going, I know what that says. That is not power. Okay. And I don't tell them that, but I'm like going, okay, that was just, they just threw some characters together, and that is not what that says, So got to be careful about it.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Anybody else? Any other questions? No? All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will put this back up here. I will put this back up here so that she can see it. And where is it? There we go. Can you see it? Posture is attitude. Attitude is posture. All right. Okay, guys.
Good.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you so much for being here tonight, and we'll see you at the dojo soon. All right, or we'll see you online dojo soon.